Let's say you and I are going on a flight. We're taking a long and much deserved vacation, yes? We're on vacation, we hop on the plane and we recline our seats and we're about to take off. Maybe our flight goes off at 7 p.m. and it's 6:58 and we're about to take off. We're on a runway. But then all of a sudden the pilot comes on the intercom and he says, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, no big deal. We just have a mechanic coming to look at the plane real quick before we go, make sure everything's good. We want to make sure everything's good for a safe, healthy flight and a safe arrival to your destination. And you and I, we look at each other, we don't have anywhere to go, we don't have any connecting flights, so we're not really worried about delays, so we're okay with that. We found a good book, listen to some good music, we are good. So another 5, 10, 15 minutes goes by, and again, the pilot comes on the intercom and says, excuse me guys, yeah, so mechanic's arrived, and he's here, and we just want to make sure that everything's set. They say there might be something in the belly of the plane that they're looking at. They're going to go look at that now. Should be another 5, 10, maybe even 20 minutes. Just sit tight, okay? And we say, okay, no problem. We're still reading our books, listening to our music, jamming out. And then another 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes passes. And then our pilot comes on again and he says, yeah, the mechanic found the challenge and it's actually a circuit breaker that connects to the engine. And we're going to fix that. They have the tools necessary to fix that. 1 sec. We're going to be in the air in a second. So my question to you is, and some people say yes and some people say no, would you take that flight? Would you feel comfortable taking that flight? The majority of people, some people say yes, some people say no. But my question to you, what I want to question you with is, what if we can ask a more effective question? What if that wasn't the question we needed to ask, whether or not we want to fly? Because if you're not familiar with a circuit breaker is just something that connects electricity through the circuit breaker to an apparatus. In this case, in the example that I just gave, the circuit breaker is connecting to the engine. So the electricity is going through the circuit breaker to the engine. Now what happens is that if something happens in this that causes it to short, that thing will disconnect from the circuit breaker. And then you won't have access to the electricity to get to the engine. Because you don't want to be 30,000 feet in the air and then the circuit breaker snap again and now you have no engine. You don't want that to happen. So in my mind, a wiser question to ask is, what caused this circuit breaker to short in the first place? What caused it to break the electricity in the first place that prevented it from getting to where it needs to be? And you and I are not too different from that. If we're going to use ourselves as a circuit breaker, we have electricity. We'll get into it in a different module, in the energy module. But we all have electricity running within us. And another example I'd give, everybody uses a phone. You can't even go a day without your phone for most cases for a lot of people. And we become so dependent on it. But what good is a phone if it doesn't have the battery power? If you're looking at a blank screen on a phone? Or what good is an app if you don't know what app to go to? You're scrolling, but you don't know what buttons to press to open up that app. And you and I are not too different from that.